Now, if you are looking at buying a car at the moment, it can be so bloody confusing. Like, do you stick with a traditional diesel or petrol engined car, or do you take the plunge and buy a full EV? They both have their pros and cons. Well, maybe the thing to do is to have the best of both worlds and buy a hybrid. Because that way you get loads of the benefits of an EV with none of the range anxiety or the complete reliance on electric power, but with all of the benefits and convenience of a traditional combustion engine car, while potentially saving a fortune on fuel, which means being kinder to the environment and your bank account. Actually, just on the whole, like being kinder to the environment thing, look, a lot of people are buying EVs because they're claiming that's their way of being environmentally conscious. But surely buying like a used hybrid, surely that's better for the environment. Because look, that way you're not requiring even more fossil fuels to be dug out of the ground to produce a new EV or a new charging station, or all of the resources that it takes to bring our charging infrastructure up to speed. But you're also recycling a pre-existing vehicle while still reducing the amount of fuel required and your carbon footprint. Plus, as a hybrid vehicle generally isn't solely reliant on electricity to power the vehicle, the batteries are under less load and therefore, theoretically, should last and provide optimal performance for longer, meaning a reduced load on recycling and less waste when compared to a full EV. Actually guys, before we get deep into this, and actually to help pay for this video and ReDriven to exist in general, if you are in the market for a hybrid, well, you're probably going to have to pay for it, and that might require financing. If you do need to finance it, do it via the driver link down there. The entire process can be done easily online. You can choose which finance package best suits you. There are no hidden fees, and if you do it via that link down there, you're going to get $150 worth of free fuel. And if you're buying a hybrid, that means potentially months worth of free fuel. Also, while we're paying our bills, click on the WIPERTECH link down there and get yourself some of the best wipers we've ever used. They're easy to order online. You can get free express shipping to your door. They're super easy to install. And if you do all of this via that link, you're going to get 15% off. Okay, now back to the whole hybrid thing. Look, with so many manufacturers using their own terminologies and the automotive industry in general just evolving so quickly all of the time, what a hybrid even is, and more importantly, what it means to you, it can be so confusing. So let's just simplify this whole thing. Okay, first of all, the majority of the market is generally split between two types of hybrid vehicles: plug-in hybrids and self-charging or full hybrids. There is a third type, but we'll get to that later. And how each manufacturer's hybrid systems work and what they can offer you in terms of range and performance and like real world experience, it's going to vary. And it's also going to depend on your driving lifestyle. And what I mean by that is, it's like how often and where you drive and just your sheer style of driving. But in terms of which hybrid might best suit you, let's kick off with plug-in hybrids. Now, with electric vehicles grabbing everyone's attention at the moment, it's important to know that many hybrids can be driven in full EV mode. But generally speaking, a plug-in hybrid will offer more range when driving in full EV mode over a self-charging or full hybrid. In fact, and look, again, depending on your driving lifestyle, if you can charge a plug-in hybrid at home or at work, chances are it will hardly ever have to use its petrol engine. Meaning you ostensibly have an EV, just with none of the range anxiety that also comes with an EV, because once it runs out of battery, it'll just switch over to the combustion engine. However, it is important to keep a plug-in hybrid charged, because once you run out of battery power, well then you basically have a petrol-engined car lugging around all of the extra weight that comes with the batteries and the electric motor, and that's not going to do any favors to your fuel consumption. And the same can be said if you drive a plug-in hybrid in a way that never ever engages the petrol engine. Because if you're driving in full EV mode all of the time, well then basically you just have an EV that's lugging around all of the extra weight of a petrol engine and a transmission and a tank full of fuel, and that's not efficient either. Plus, when it comes to actually charging a plug-in hybrid, except for the plug-in hybrid versions of the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, the Outlander, the Mercedes-Benz A-Class and Range Rover, many other plug-in hybrids, they don't allow DC or rapid charging abilities. See, the majority of plug-in hybrids, they're generally stuck with slower AC charging. However, in saying that, as they also generally have smaller battery packs, the charging times will often still eclipse a full EV when using slower AC power. And then we come to self-charging or full hybrids. Now, if you don't have easy access to a charging station, or honestly even a power point to plug the car in overnight or while you're at work, or you might possibly just forget to charge your car, or you simply can't be bothered with all the faffing about of plugging your car in every single night, well, maybe a full hybrid is the way to go. Now, the way these work is that the traditional petrol engine and the energy recovered when braking charges the electric motor's battery, so there's no need to ever plug the car in. It's basically exactly like living with a traditional petrol or diesel engined car, only that the electric motor should improve your fuel economy and, depending on the model, may even offer full EV driving for short and low speed trips. Now, these full hybrid systems, they do vary on how they work and therefore suit different driving lifestyles. For example, the most common full hybrid systems, as seen with the likes of Hyundai, Subaru, Ford, Honda, Toyota, and therefore Lexus, seamlessly transition between the petrol engine and the electric motors to send power to the wheels. And depending on the scenario, the car's software will decide if the petrol or the electric motor is required. Or, and look, this will depend on the specific car, you can possibly select full EV mode, and the petrol engine, it'll only kick in when the car recognises that it's required. And Nissan does this too, but just a bit differently. Called e-Power, Nissan's petrol engine acts purely as an electricity generator. That engine, it's not actually attached to the wheels in any way, shape or form. It purely powers the battery. The battery powers the electric motors, and those electric motors sends power to the wheels. And that means it doesn't have a transmission, so that means no more of those pesky Nissan CVT dramas. Plus, this provides the whole quick, quiet and smooth full EV experience with plenty of power on tap and without range anxiety. Now, remember how I mentioned a third option? Well, it's more of a mild hybrid system. See, some vehicles from the likes of Mercedes-Benz, Audi, Kia and Suzuki use a small generator to charge the traditional battery in their petrol and diesel engined cars instead of a conventional alternator. Now, this is designed to allow the petrol engine to cut out completely when power isn't needed, like when the car is stationary or when it's rolling or even when it's braking. It can also assist with actually starting the car and can give the petrol engine a bit of a boost under acceleration or from a standing start. However, the mild hybrid system in the Mazda MX-30, well, it does things differently again. See, it captures all of the energy that would usually be wasted during braking. It then stores this energy to power the vehicle's electrical systems, theoretically reducing load on the overall setup and saving fuel in the process. But no matter what, these mild hybrid systems, they aren't as fuel efficient as plug-in or full hybrid systems. But if you're a bit apprehensive towards embracing hybrid technology, well, maybe a mild hybrid system might be the way to go. Now, obviously, guys, this is a topic that we could delve so much deeper into, but we're really hoping that this just simplifies what can be a really confusing subject. But the big question now is, what hybrids should we all be buying? Well, depending on when you're watching this, we may have already made that video and we may have already posted it. But right now, in my current timeline, we haven't made that video because we're still researching it. It's coming out soon. It might actually already be out now, depending on when you're watching this, but right now it's not, but it's coming soon. But look, anyway, we would love your input. What hybrids would you recommend? And what do you think of hybrids in general? Let us know in the comments. See you next time. The batteries are under less load and therefore, theoretically, should last and provide optimal... And if you need to do that, do it via click... Damn it! Well, chances are you're going to have to pay for it, and that might need... God damn it! Jesus Christ, it scared the shit out of me. You got that. Were you in the shot the whole time? No, you snuck in? That was amazing. Anyway,